In the autumn of 1921, the town of Guyra in northern New South Wales was little more than a scattering of cottages and shops, a place where farm fields gave way to scrub, and where nights were measured by the sound of wind through grass and the creak of timber settling in the dark. It was a quiet town, ordinary in its routines, and then, for a few extraordinary weeks, it became the stage for a haunting that would draw strangers from far away and leave behind one of the strangest legends in Australian history. It began on April 8th, at the Bowen family's small weatherboard home on the edge of town. The family was gathered for the evening when sharp cracks broke the stillness, stones striking the roof, windows rattling in their frames, the sudden, hollow thud of impact. William Bowen, the father, ran out into the yard with a lantern, expecting to find pranksters or vandals. Yet the night was empty. No footsteps, no fleeing figures, nothing but the stones scattered across the ground. The disturbances did not stop. Night after night, stones seemed to fall from nowhere. Windows shattered. Walls shook as though struck by invisible fists, and heavy knocks echoed through the rooms. Neighbors came to help, but they too were left bewildered. Stones landed while their eyes swept the yard. Knocks sounded from the walls while every inch of the house was watched. Even armed men who surrounded the cottage failed to catch a culprit. At the center of it all was 12-year-old Minnie Bowen. She was a pale and often unwell child, shy and withdrawn, yet the chaos seemed to follow her. When she spoke, the knocks sometimes answered. When she was sent to another room, the sounds shifted with her. When she left the house entirely, the disturbances fell eerily quiet. It was whispered that she was the focus, not by choice, but by some strange tether, that poltergeists, if they existed, clung to the young. News of the Guyra ghost spread quickly. Within days, the town was crowded with reporters, spiritualists, and curious onlookers. Newspapers from Sydney carried the story across the nation, weaving fact and rumor until the line between them blurred. Headlines asked whether a ghost truly haunted the Bowen home, or whether some elaborate trick was afoot. One visitor was Charles Bailey, a self-proclaimed psychic investigator. He held seances in the cottage, claiming to summon spirits that admitted to throwing the stones. Some townsfolk believed him. Others scoffed, muttering that Bailey was a fraud playing to the crowd. Yet the phenomena continued in his presence, as baffling as ever. Witnesses recalled stones that seemed to drop from the air itself, their edges warm as if newly cast. They spoke of knocks that answered questions, 3 taps for yes, 1 for no, as though the house itself had found a voice. Dozens heard it. Dozens swore it was real, and still no source was found. The Bowens were worn thin. Their nights were sleepless, their nerves frayed, their home battered. Finally, Minnie was sent away to stay with relatives. Almost at once, the disturbances subsided. The stones no longer fell. The knocks ceased. The house grew silent again. By mid-May, it was over. In the aftermath, explanations splintered. Skeptics called it trickery. Perhaps Minnie, perhaps others seeking attention in a small town unused to headlines. Believers pointed to the sheer number of witnesses, the impossibility of one frail child orchestrating chaos under so many watchful eyes. Some whispered that the spirits had used Minnie as their vessel, choosing a sickly child as their channel. The Bowens eventually left Guyra, weary of the shadow the story had cast. The cottage, once watched by a nation, stood quiet again. But the name of the town carried further than it ever had before. More than a century has passed, yet the legend lingers. In Guyra, old-timers still recall the days when strangers thronged the streets, when reporters camped outside a humble weatherboard house, and when stones fell from the night sky with no hand to cast them. The house is gone now, but the questions remain. What rattled the walls of the Bowen home in 1921? Was it trickery, hysteria, or something that reached out from beyond? leaving only stones, knocks, and silence in its wake. The mystery endures, like the faint echo of a rap against timber, carrying across the years, asking, but never answering.